Christopher Morgan, 46845. Good evening, Council. I'm the tow guy that spoke to you a couple years ago about the city towing contract. The contract had been renewed for the third time with significant price increases without competitive bidding. At the time I spoke in July of 2022, although I spoke at public comments in July of 2022, I began exploring the towing contract in the summer of 2020. This has been a long journey. Along the way, I've met so many people that I've come to admire and respect. I truly appreciate the support that I've received from City Council pertaining to this issue. My goal throughout this journey has been to ensure that I receive the opportunity to engage in competitive bidding for the city towing contract. I was recently approached by a group of tow owners and operators that wanted to voice their frustrations at the current conditions surrounding the towing contract during the public comments at City Council tonight. I've participated with the group in an effort to direct their frustrations to the appropriate parties and to ensure that blame is not levied upon City Council, but directed to the purchasing department that signed and renewed the contract. The group felt that Council's public comment was the only public forum available to air their grievances and draw attention to the issue. I hope the public and media understand that this contract was not created or renewed by City Council. The contract was bid and signed by the purchasing department. A few of the people from the group would like to share their experiences with the contract and current provider. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
My name is Mark Campbell, 46765. This towing contract is harmful to the citizens of Fort Wayne and the towing industry in Allen County as a whole. Every other major populated city has a rotation giving all companies equal access to the most profitable revenue stream in this industry, where this contract puts millions in the hands of one company, allowing him to subsidize his revenue stream and push out his competitors. This gives him a monopoly in municipal towing and allows him to fix pricing in this county for all towing. This contract is not being followed. I believe that I have proof that he's been overbilling citizens forced to utilize his services on a tragic day in their lives. There is no one auditing this contract to protect the citizens. There is no one fining them as Red River was fined for not failing to uphold their contractual obligations. There is no avenue for a citizen to even file a complaint. The contract is a vague outline granting the provider unlimited access to charge whatever he feels like when handling medium and heavy duty jobs. Anytime a large record is dispatched, he's billing outrageous amounts an hour. The predatory manner that they chase wrecks, sending a pickup truck, calling it a supervisor vehicle. There is no service that he provides that's proprietary or unique that can't be provided by the accumulative efforts of the companies of this city. And the fact that it's a single provider system that hasn't been put up for bid since 2013, the contract was not to be renewed except for like terms, yet it has been openly amended 3 times, whole provision stripped and rewritten. The terms are not like. Any changes that were made were in the benefit of the provider, not the citizens. The provider should be audited and fined for every missed ETA, every billing, overbilling, every time that he tried to force another company off an owner's request as outlined in the contract. Even the salvage of the vehicle pays a portion to the city, but who's in charge of making sure that he pays his share? Most importantly, where does all those fees go? These fees feel like a pay-to-play scenario. Even though this council had nothing to do with this contract, I believe it's within your power to help us and guide us in rectifying it. I brought a copy of everything for all of you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Chris Harms, 46835. I'm the terminal manager for Fort Wayne's Division of Reichert Knepp Wrecker Service, previously employed at Parker Service Inc. from 2010 to 2020, and Robinson's Wrecker Service from 2020 to 2022. If offered, I'd like to participate in a city towing rotation. This contract in question gives the citizens of Fort Wayne and the motoring public the right to choose their own towing service as long as the service provider can respond within the 20 minutes allowed per city contract. It also states that the current provider is not to respond until requested by city dispatch. And if a different provider collects it via owner's request, there's to be no fees charged for a dry run. Twice in the last year, I've had owner's requests where the city provider was on scene prior to my arrival within the allotted time frame. An officer did not call to check our status of ETA or to confirm the customer request. On 9/28/23, a supervisor from the current city provider admitted he dispatched himself to my accident scene by listening to the police radio and not by city dispatch. Also, on 1/23/24, another customer overturned a commercial truck and was off the roadway and was told by the current provider that he'd be charged a show-up fee if they didn't cancel our services. We were en route within 8 minutes of the customer calling. This is a violation of the city contract and is illegal in most states. During my 10 years of employment at Parker Wrecker Service, I was personally instructed to patrol outside of our assigned areas to solicit wrecks away from competitors. I always felt that this was immoral and unethical. I've been a part of the towing community in Fort Wayne for 17 years, and I feel like it's time for a change. Whether it's a fair rotation or this council to pass an anti-solicitation law in this county so the citizens can choose their own vendor and not be preyed upon and forced to use a single provider. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you. My name's Ryan Spillers, 46818. Thank you for the time, for listening to us, and I'm here looking for part of a rotation aspect for the city contract to benefit my company and the other companies here in town. If not, I'd like to be able to access the current provider as well. I did beforehand, and we will all work well with the companies in and surrounding area of Fort Wayne that let me pick up vehicles from their other companies and other tow providers for accident-related incidences. However, we are not able to go access the current provider. He won't let most of us in. I'm just looking to pick up vehicles for my customers that have had vehicles impounded, and the current provider will not let us access anything. And if he does, he charges extra gate fees to pull those vehicles out for their customers that are on a separate invoice for no apparent reason. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Joseph Arich, 46805 is where I currently reside. Grew up here in Fort Wayne my entire life. Worked as an emergency medical technician for the past decade before switching over into towing full-time under my own flag. I'm the owner of JA Towing here in town. We currently run 2 trucks, 2 service cars. Just here to voice my support for a rotation. I think it would be a more fair market for all. I think it would be beneficial for the taxpayers to have more of a choice in their towing provider. Granted, if you can meet the current deadline or the ETAs required for the accident towing for the service. Just here in solidarity with a bunch of other companies who reached out to me and would like to see some changes made here to make it more of a fair market for all companies. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Doug McLean. I'm the owner of AJ Towing and Transportation here in Fort Wayne. I've been in the towing business for the last 24 years. I'm not a part of the city council or the city contract. However, I would like to have the opportunity to be able to bid on the city contract. I know the contract has not come up for rebid since Parker bought out Kelly Wrecker Service, which usually when a company is bought out on a city contract, it goes up for rebid immediately, which that contract has never come up for rebid since Parker bought out the contract back in 2013. I would just like the opportunity to be able to have an opportunity to bid on this contract. I feel it'd be in the best interest of the city and all the providers that are here tonight to be able to have a chance to do something with this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tonight, the towing discussion was sparked by one fundamental issue, which is you have a city contract that, for years and years and years and years has not gone out to public bid. And that very fact then makes it problematic. And so, having had a chance, this wasn't Chris's first time to come to council. I've had a chance to talk to him a little bit further over the last several months. And I felt like this issue had enough merit that I have asked Megan and Joe, as each council member has afforded some funds to do legal research, to research why this particular contract doesn't come in front of council and make sure that similar contracts in the future at some point have to come to council, especially when the dollars and cents that the public has to pay for those services are changed without public bid. So if any other council members would like to be part of that, I certainly would welcome it as well.
Thank you, Councilman Yale. Councilman Bender?
Speaking of the towing contract, I had a meeting this afternoon with the Controller's Office and several of the people that were involved in it. And it will be rebid in the first or early part of spring next year. And I've been asked to assist them in coming up with a new contract, so we're working on it.
Thank you, Councilman.